Progress isn't luck. It's a decision supported by structure. Every day feels the same when you're just getting by without a clear plan. You say you want more focus, more growth, more results, but without direction, effort gets wasted. This is where most people get stuck. They do a lot, but they don't move forward, not because they can't, but because they haven't taken control of their path. This video is different. It's not for those seeking a few minutes of motivation. It's for people ready to build a system that truly works, a system they can rely on. No more guessing. No more hoping things will just fall into place. If you've been feeling stuck, distracted, or scattered, this is your reset. This is where clarity is built step by step. Watch till the end. One shift in your thinking today can unlock consistent growth for the rest of your life. Chapter 1. Build a plan that strengthens your daily direction. When a person sits quietly for a moment and reflects on life, something honest surfaces. Every one of us wants to feel like our days are moving us forward. We want to wake up with a sense of purpose. But the truth is simple and often uncomfortable. Without a plan, nothing changes. Without a plan, the days slip by. Without a plan, progress remains a hope rather than a reality. And people deserve more than hope. They deserve direction they can trust. A plan is not pressure. A plan is not stress. A plan is a choice to take control. When someone creates a plan, they tell their mind, "I'm ready to move my life with purpose." They stop wandering through the day, waiting for something to push them. They become the one who pushes. Human nature often waits for motivation first, but direction creates motivation. When the mind sees a clear path, it feels safer, stronger, and more willing to act. And when the mind feels that way, progress becomes easier. Imagine a day when you wake up already knowing what matters. You don't waste time wondering where to start. You don't feel the heaviness that comes from trying to organize your life in your head. You know your direction. That is what a plan provides. It gives you relief. It gives you clarity. It gives you a sense of control that strengthens your confidence. People often underestimate how much confidence grows when life feels organized. Without that organization, the mind becomes scattered, and when the mind is scattered, progress slows. A plan also shapes how you talk to yourself. When you have direction, your inner voice becomes stronger. You stop telling yourself you will change someday. You stop promising yourself you will start later. You begin living with action, and action changes everything. You start speaking to yourself in a way that builds trust. You start believing in your ability to follow through. Most people don't lack talent. They lack trust in themselves. A plan helps restore that trust because it gives you steps you can actually complete. And every completed step adds another piece to your confidence. A good plan also removes unnecessary stress. Think about how many people carry stress simply because they don't know what to do next. They feel overwhelmed not because the goal is too big, but because the path is unclear. When you sit down and create a simple plan for your day or your week, you lighten that weight. Your mind becomes calmer because it knows the next move. And a calm mind makes wiser decisions. When a person drifts through the day, their energy spreads thin. They jump from one thought to another, chasing the next thing that seems urgent. By the end of the day, they wonder why they feel tired yet unfulfilled. But when a person has direction, energy gathers in one place. It becomes purposeful, and purposeful energy is powerful. It makes you feel alive. It gives you strength you didn't know you had. That energy fuels progress in ways random effort never can. A plan also helps you respect your time. People say they want more time, yet they lose hours each day to distraction, confusion, and hesitation. When you create a plan, you learn to use your time wisely. You stop wasting hours on things that do nothing for your growth. You stop giving attention to things that weaken your spirit. You start using each hour with intention. And the moment you do that, something beautiful happens. You begin to feel proud of yourself. Pride grows from disciplined use of time. Pride grows from knowing you didn't waste your day. A plan also strengthens your discipline. Discipline is not about force, it's about clarity. When you know what you need to do, it becomes easier to do it. The mind thrives on structure. When structure is missing, discipline feels impossible. But when you outline your steps clearly, discipline feels natural. You stop fighting with yourself. You stop feeling guilty for starting late. You follow the direction you gave yourself. And with every day of discipline, your character grows stronger. That strength spills into other areas of your life. It improves how you work, how you think, and how you feel about your future. A plan also protects you from emotional swings. When life feels aimless, emotions take over. You wake up fine, but one small disruption can ruin the whole day. You feel unsteady. But when you create direction, emotions have less control over you. You don't depend on your mood to move forward because you already know what needs to be done. This gives you emotional stability, something many people search for, but few realize comes from daily structure. A plan also helps you grow at a steady pace. Most people wait for big moments rarely change a life. Real growth happens through small actions done consistently. A plan allows those small actions to accumulate day after day. You stop trying to fix everything at once. You break things down. You focus. And because you focus, progress becomes steady. Steady progress builds long-term change. It shapes your identity. It makes you someone reliable, efficient, and capable. There is also something meaningful that happens when you build a plan. You start paying attention to yourself. You begin understanding what you truly want. You stop reacting to life and start shaping it. You ask yourself honest questions. What matters to me? What am I ignoring? What do I need to change? These questions lead to clarity, and clarity is the foundation of a strong plan. A plan also reminds you that your life is your responsibility, not your friends, not your family's, not society's, but yours. When you create direction, you take ownership. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop waiting for perfect conditions to begin. You begin because you understand that progress only belongs to those who take charge. A plan doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need fancy words or big ideas. It just needs honesty. What do you want? Why do you want it? What steps can you take today? That is enough to change the entire rhythm of your life. Because the moment you choose direction, you choose growth. And when a person chooses growth, their whole world starts to shift. A plan builds momentum. Momentum makes improvement easier. When you wake up with direction, you feel ready. Your day gains meaning. Your effort gains power. Your results gain consistency. And that consistency becomes a new identity. You start seeing yourself as someone who follows through, someone who creates progress, someone who shapes their life instead of waiting for life to shape them. A plan is the first act of self-respect. When you design the direction for your day, you tell yourself that your future matters. You tell yourself that you deserve progress. You tell yourself that your goals deserve attention. And when you live with that kind of inner respect, everything changes. Your choices improve, your attitude improves, your confidence improves. This is why direction matters. This is why planning matters, not for perfection, but for power. The power to guide your day, your day. Focus improves when the mind is not overwhelmed. Many people try to do too much at once and then wonder why their thoughts feel scattered. The mind needs space to function well. One powerful action is to reduce the number of decisions you make at once. When you create small systems, like setting aside specific times for certain tasks, you free your mind from unnecessary pressure. You train your brain to focus by removing the chaos that steals attention. This isn't about controlling every minute, it's about will strengthen your mental capacity over time. The key is consistency, not perfection. Your brain grows from commitment, not intensity. Training your focus also means taking responsibility for how you spend your time. Every action you take either sharpens your mind or diminishes it. When you choose activities that feed clarity, like reading, meaningful work, or goal-driven tasks, you strengthen your mental direction. When you spend too much time on activities that numb your mind, you weaken your ability to concentrate. The goal isn't to remove enjoyment from your life, it's to balance it. You build a stronger mind by choosing actions that promote growth instead of actions that drain your energy. Your environment plays a role too. A cluttered space often leads to a cluttered mind. Clearing your surroundings sends your brain a message. This is a place for focus. When your space supports your goals, your thoughts follow. The simple act of cleaning your desk, organizing your tools, or removing unnecessary items can enhance your ability to concentrate. The mind works better in a goals that push your personal growth. There comes a moment in life when a person realizes they have been moving, but not necessarily in a direction that changes them. Days pass, tasks get done, responsibilities are handled, yet something inside feels untouched. That feeling signals that growth needs a destination. Growth needs a target. Without a clear goal, a person may work hard but remain in the same place emotionally, mentally, and personally. A goal is not just something you want. It is something that demands a better version of you. It asks you to stretch your skills, your thinking, and your habits. When you define goals that push your personal growth, you choose to evolve rather than stay who you have always been. The first step is honesty. Real goals come from examining your life without excuses. You ask yourself simple but powerful questions. What do I truly want to improve? Which areas of my life feel unfinished? What part of me is capable of more but remains unused? These questions create clarity. They bring your attention to places you may have ignored for years. When answered truthfully, they give a clear picture of the growth you need, not the growth others expect from you. A meaningful goal challenges you, not punishes you. It shouldn't feel impossible, but it should feel like it requires effort beyond your current routine. When a goal is too easy, it keeps you comfortable. Comfort never builds progress, but when a goal gently pushes you out of familiar patterns, it forces you to upgrade. Your challenges will appear. But a flexible goal adapts without losing its direction. It allows you to change your approach while keeping your focus intact. This adaptability reduces frustration and encourages persistence. It teaches you to move forward even when the path is imperfect. To define goals that push your growth, you must also consider your weaknesses, not to judge yourself, but to guide your improvement. Everyone has patterns that hold them back: procrastination, fear, impatience, self-doubt, inconsistency. When you set goals that require you to face these weaknesses, you begin to grow from the inside out. You learn discipline. You learn courage. You learn responsibility. Growth comes from confronting the parts of yourself you have been avoiding. Your goals should also reflect your strengths. Growth is not just about fixing weaknesses. It's also about developing what you are naturally good at. When you choose goals that leverage your strengths, you build confidence. You move with more enthusiasm. You feel more connected to your purpose. Strength-based goals keep you motivated and provide a sense of progress that propels you forward. Another crucial aspect of defining a strong growth goal is clarity. The mind cannot work towards something vague. Saying you want to be better or grow more provides no direction. But defining specifically which area you want to grow in gives your mind something to focus on daily. If your goal is to communicate better, define what that means. If your goal is to build discipline, identify the actions that demonstrate discipline. If your goal is to improve emotional balance, decide how you will practice it. Clarity empowers your actions. Growth-focused goals also require accountability. You must hold yourself responsible for the direction you choose. This does not mean blaming yourself when you struggle. It means staying aware of your progress, checking in with yourself, and asking whether your actions align with your goals. Accountability fosters maturity. It teaches you to take charge of your life instead of waiting for someone else to push you. When defining your goal, consider the long-term effect. A good goal does more than improve your present, it upgrades your future. It builds habits that last, teaches lessons you can apply for years, and shapes a mindset that helps you face challenges with strength. When you choose goals with long-term value, you create growth that continues even after the goal is achieved. Your goals must also inspire you. They should make you feel alive and give your life direction. When a goal excites you, commitment becomes easier. You look forward to working toward it and feel proud of yourself with every step you take. Inspiration fuels action, and when that inspiration comes from a personal goal, you experience your life more fully. Defining goals that push your growth also means being willing to step out of old stories. Many people limit themselves because they carry beliefs that no longer serve them. They think they are not capable enough, strong enough, or ready. But growth requires rewriting those beliefs. When you set a goal that challenges your old identity, you break those inner limits. You build a new belief system based on action and evidence rather than fear. Growth-centered goals also teach patience. Real improvement takes time. When you commit to growth, you accept that the process may be slow but meaningful. You learn to appreciate progress instead of rushing results. Patience brings peace, allowing you to grow without pressure. Without pressure, your progress becomes more consistent. When you define goals that push your growth, you give your life direction, structure, and meaning. You stop living by chance and start living by choice. You stop drifting and start leading yourself. Goals are the roadmap of personal evolution. They guide you to who you can become. Your life changes the moment you choose a goal that demands your best. And when you rise to meet that demand, you grow into a stronger, wiser, more capable version of yourself, one decision at a time. Chapter 4. Start routines that support your emotional discipline. There comes a time when a person realizes that emotions influence almost everything they do: how they react, how they speak, how they treat themselves, and how they handle challenges, all stem from emotional discipline. Without it, even the strongest goals fall apart, even the clearest plans get ignored, and even the best intentions fade. Emotional, consider the long-term effect. A good goal does more than improve your present, it upgrades your future. It builds habits that last, teaches lessons you can apply for years, and shapes a mindset that helps you face challenges with strength. When you choose goals with long-term value, you create growth that continues even after the goal is achieved. Your goals must also inspire you. They should make you feel alive and give your life direction. When a goal excites you, commitment becomes easier. You look forward to working toward it and feel proud of yourself with every step you take. Inspiration fuels action, and when that inspiration comes from a personal goal, you experience your life more fully. Defining goals that push your growth also means being willing to step out of old stories. Many people limit themselves because they carry beliefs that no longer serve them. They think they are not capable enough, strong enough, or ready. But growth requires rewriting those beliefs. When you set a goal that challenges your old identity, you break those inner limits. You build a new belief system based on action and evidence rather than fear. Growth-centered goals also teach patience. Real improvement takes time. When you commit to growth, you accept that the process may be slow but meaningful. You learn to appreciate progress instead of rushing results. Patience brings peace, allowing you to grow without pressure. Without pressure, your progress becomes more consistent. When you define goals that push your growth, you give your life direction, structure, and meaning. You stop living by chance and start living by choice. You stop drifting and start leading yourself. Goals are the roadmap of personal evolution. They guide you to who you can become. Your life changes the moment you choose a goal that demands your best. And when you rise to meet that demand, you grow into a stronger, wiser, more capable version of yourself, one decision at a time. Chapter 4. Start routines that support your emotional discipline. There comes a time when a person realizes that emotions influence almost everything they do: how they react, how they speak, how they treat themselves, and how they handle challenges, all stem from emotional discipline. Without it, even the strongest goals fall apart, even the clearest plans get ignored, and even the best intentions fade. Emoti. Emotions shape every aspect of your life. Without control, they can derail your actions, cloud your judgment, and weaken your resolve. Emotional discipline allows you to respond rather than react. It gives you the ability to face challenges calmly, communicate effectively, and maintain focus under pressure. By establishing routines that strengthen emotional regulation, such as reflection, mindfulness, or deliberate pauses, you create a foundation that supports every goal you pursue. With emotional discipline, your actions align with your intentions, your decisions become deliberate, and your growth becomes sustainable. Discipline is not about hiding your feelings, it's about guiding them in a way that supports your life instead of harming it. One of the most effective ways to build this discipline is by creating routines that support your emotional stability every day. A routine gives your emotions structure. When your day has structure, your feelings become easier to manage. You know what you are doing, why you are doing it, and when you are doing it. This removes unnecessary stress and prevents your emotions from becoming scattered. The moment you start shaping your day, you begin shaping your inner world. The actions you repeat become signals to your mind, teaching it how to respond, calm down, and stay centered. Emotional strength grows when the mind feels anchored, and routines provide that anchor. Starting a routine begins with simple, steady actions. You don't need complicated rituals or overwhelming tasks. You need small behaviors that give your mind a sense of familiarity and control. Something as simple as taking a quiet minute before speaking to anyone can collect your thoughts. A short morning walk can help your emotions settle. Setting a time to review your intentions for the day creates clarity. These actions may seem small, but their emotional impact is significant because they teach your mind consistency. Emotional discipline improves when you reduce sudden chaos in your day. When everything feels unpredictable, your emotions react quickly and strongly. A routine lowers that unpredictability. It gives your mind a rhythm to follow. When your mind knows what comes next, it becomes calmer. It stops jumping from worry to worry and stops reacting to every minor disturbance. Predictability may not solve every problem, but it gives your emotions enough order to respond to life with strength instead of panic. A routine also helps you recognize emotional patterns. When your day is structured, you can see when certain feelings arise. You may notice tension in the morning, restlessness in the afternoon, or discouragement at night. When you observe these patterns clearly, you can take action before emotion turns into reaction. You can pause, adjust, breathe, or take a moment for yourself. This ability to pause, adjust, breathe, or take a moment for yourself. This ability to intervene early is a key part of emotional discipline. You no longer get carried away by your emotions, you manage them with awareness. Discipline also grows from routines that protect your well-being. When you set aside time for rest, nourishment, movement, and reflection, you teach yourself that your emotional health matters. A tired mind becomes reactive. A neglected body becomes heavy. A rushed day creates frustration. But when you follow routines that care for you, your emotions stay balanced. You think more clearly, react more thoughtfully, and communicate more calmly. Self-care is not indulgence, it is maintenance. And maintenance is a form of discipline. Part of emotional discipline is learning to separate impulse from intention. Routines help you train this skill. When you commit to doing something daily, even when you don't feel like it, you teach yourself to act based on choice rather than emotion. This creates a strong inner voice that says, "I can follow through." That voice becomes your anchor when emotions push you toward impulsive decisions. Even small routines, like finishing a simple task at the same time every day, strengthen your ability to act with intention. Another routine that builds emotional discipline is setting aside time to reflect. Reflection is not overthinking, it is understanding. When you take a few minutes to think about how you acted, what triggered you, and how you could have responded differently, you grow emotionally wiser. Reflection builds emotional maturity. It helps you distinguish between temporary feelings and long-term values. When you understand that difference, Your discipline strengthens because you stop letting emotions control your choices. Creating routines also helps build emotional patience. Life will not always move at your pace. People will not always act the way you want. Plans will not always go smoothly. Without emotional discipline, this can create frustration that ruins your day. But when you follow routines that keep you grounded, you learn to pause instead of react. You learn to breathe before responding. You learn to think before speaking. This patience does not come responding. You learn to think before speaking. This patience does not come from talent, it comes from repeated practice. Another important routine for emotional development is checking in with your thoughts throughout the day. Many people carry tension without noticing it. They hold stress in their shoulders, tighten their jaw, and rush through actions. Pausing for a moment allows your emotions to settle, preventing the buildup that causes sudden outbursts later. Regular check-ins remind you to stay aware. Awareness is the foundation of emotional control. A helpful routine is ending the day with a moment of closure. When you finish your day intentionally, your emotions do not carry unnecessary weight into the next morning. You acknowledge what went well, accept what didn't, and release tension you no longer need. This closing routine helps you approach the next day with a clear mind instead of leftover frustration. Emotional discipline improves when you do not carry old emotions into new moments. Emotional discipline also strengthens when you create routines that limit exposure to things that drain your stability. Setting boundaries around negative conversations, unnecessary arguments, or unhealthy distractions protects your emotional energy. By routinely distancing yourself from what disrupts your peace, you make room for emotional strength to grow. You do not have to engage with everything. You do not have to respond to every opinion. You have the right to protect your emotional well-being. Another routine that supports emotional discipline is practicing neutral responses. Not every situation requires a strong reaction. Sometimes the best response is a calm acknowledgement. When you make it a routine to respond with steadiness rather than intensity, you teach your emotions they don't have to explode every time something unexpected happens. This kind of control is not cold or uncaring, it is maturity. It keeps your relationships healthier and your mind clearer. Daily routines also help you build trust in yourself. Emotional discipline grows when you believe you are capable of managing your inner world. Each day you follow your routine, you reinforce that belief. You prove to yourself that you can remain steady and show that you are responsible enough to handle your feelings. This trust builds emotional strength that cannot be taken away by circumstances or people. Starting routines that support emotional discipline is not about creating a perfect life, it's about creating a stable life, one where your emotions do not dictate your future. A life where you respond with clarity instead of confusion. A life where you feel grounded even when everything around you feels uncertain. A life where you guide your emotions with intention instead of letting them guide you without direction. When you build routines that strengthen your emotional discipline, you lay a foundation for everything else. Your goals become easier, your focus sharper, your relationships healthier, and your confidence stronger. Emotional discipline is not built in a day. It is developed through repeated actions that teach your mind how to stay steady. When your emotions work with you instead of against you, your entire life begins to move forward with purpose. Chapter 5. Choose habits that improve your internal clarity. There comes a point in every person's life when the noise inside feels louder than the world outside. Thoughts overlap, worries accumulate, and decisions become harder than they should be. That inner noise is a sign that clarity is missing. Clarity does not appear on its own, it is created. It is built through habits that clear your mental space, habits that teach your mind to slow down, and habits that help you understand what you truly think and feel. Internal clarity is not a luxury, it is the foundation for a stable and meaningful life. The habits you choose each day determine how clear your inner world becomes. Internal clarity starts with the habit of paying attention to your thoughts. Inner world becomes. Internal clarity begins with the habit of paying attention to your thoughts, instead of ignoring them. Many people go through their day without checking in with themselves, carrying stress, fears, and doubts without pausing to ask what those feelings are trying to communicate. By making a habit of observing your thoughts, you start to understand your emotional patterns. You recognize what triggers your frustration, what fuels your confidence, and what drains your energy. This awareness is the first step toward clarity because it helps you separate real concerns from imagined ones. Another habit that enhances clarity is simplifying your mental load. The mind can only handle so many unfinished tasks before becoming overwhelmed. By reducing unnecessary commitments and removing distractions, your thoughts become easier to manage. A simple habit like writing down your tasks each morning clears space in your mind. You no longer rely solely on memory to manage everything, giving your brain room to think clearly. Simplicity does not weaken your ambition, it strengthens your efficiency and improves your emotional balance. Clarity also grows through the habit of reflection. Reflection allows you to examine your choices, actions, and reactions honestly. Spending a few minutes considering your day helps you understand what moved you forward and what held you back. You begin to notice patterns you never saw before and understand yourself better without judgment. Reflection provides insight, and insight provides direction. When you understand your behavior, you make wiser decisions in the future. Another powerful habit for internal clarity is creating moments of quiet. Many people surround themselves with constant noise because silence feels unfamiliar, but clarity grows in silence. A quiet moment in the morning, a slow breath before a conversation, or a brief pause before reacting allows your mind to reset. These small breaks help your thoughts settle. When your mind is calm, your decisions become clearer. The habit of quiet time does not require long hours, it requires consistency. Clarity improves when you experience the moment with full attention. Your thoughts become organized. Being present reduces confusion because it prevents your mind from jumping ahead, keeping you grounded. Another habit that supports clarity is reducing emotional clutter. Emotional clutter comes from holding too many unresolved feelings. By taking the time to acknowledge and express your emotions, you stop the buildup, begin to understand what needs healing, what needs changing, and what needs letting go. This emotional openness creates a clearer mind because you are no longer carrying hidden weight. Clearing emotional clutter is an ongoing habit, not a one-time action. Your physical environment also affects inner clarity. Consistently keeping your space clean and organized helps your mind stay orderly. Removing physical mess reduces mental stress. Your surroundings influence your mood, focus, and emotional stability. A tidy space supports a tidy mind, making it easier to think clearly when you are not surrounded by chaos. Sleep is another habit linked to clarity. A tired mind cannot think logically, it becomes reactive, distracted, and clouded. Prioritizing rest gives your brain the recovery it needs. Good sleep enhances memory, focus, and emotional strength. Internal clarity becomes more natural when your mind is not fighting exhaustion. A well-rested mind perceives situations clearly instead of magnifying problems. Clarity also develops through healthy boundaries. Habitually protecting your time, energy, and emotional space prevents unnecessary stress from entering your life. Boundaries help you avoid situations that confuse your priorities or weaken your sense of self. Learning to say no to what drains you creates space for what strengthens you. Boundaries create clarity by reducing chaos. Another habit that strengthens internal clarity is mindful communication. Taking the time to express your thoughts clearly and listening carefully to others reduces misunderstandings, making your relationships healthier and less emotionally draining. Clear communication reduces hidden tension, keeping your mind focused and emotional energy clean. A habit often overlooked is intentional learning. Feeding your mind meaningful information expands your understanding and exposes you to new perspectives. It sharpens your thinking and helps you see solutions you may have never considered. Learning is not about accumulating facts, it is about enhancing your mental ability to interpret life with clarity. Internal clarity also comes from the habit of grounding yourself in gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present. It calms unnecessary worry and reduces emotional pressure. When you make gratitude a daily habit, your mind becomes clearer because you stop viewing life through negativity. You begin to see possibilities instead of problems. This emotional stability supports better clarity in your decisions and actions. Another essential habit is choosing routines that promote mental stability. When your day follows a steady rhythm, your mind feels safe. This sense of safety allows clarity to grow. A predictable routine prevents emotions from controlling your actions, helps you stay organized, and reduces mental clutter. Routine is not about restriction, it is about direction. Clarity also grows when you focus on what you can control. Many people lose clarity by spending too much energy worrying about things beyond their influence. When you train yourself to concentrate on actions you can take, your mind becomes sharper. You stop wasting energy on what cannot be changed, which brings clarity, confidence, and emotional strength. Developing internal clarity means choosing habits that help you understand yourself more deeply. It involves creating daily patterns that support mental balance and removing behaviors that cloud judgment. These habits take time to develop, but each one adds another layer of clarity to your life. With clarity comes peace, better choices, and a stronger sense of direction. When you adopt habits that improve internal clarity, you choose to live intentionally, think with purpose, and act with confidence. Clarity is not found, it is built. When you build it, life becomes easier to navigate, the path more visible, decisions more grounded, and you become someone who moves through life with understanding and strength. Chapter 6. Take steps that build trust in yourself. Every person reaches a point where they realize that trust in themselves is the foundation of meaningful change. You can have goals, routines, plans, and ideas, but without trust in your own actions, nothing progresses. Trust is not something you merely talk about. It is something you actively create and reinforce through consistent action. Yourself into. It is built through small, consistent steps that show your mind you are someone worth believing in. Every time you follow through, you strengthen your trust in yourself, your choices, discipline, and direction. This trust becomes one of the greatest forms of personal power. Trust begins with showing up for yourself in simple ways. Self-doubt often arises not from failure, but from repeatedly breaking promises you made to yourself. Each ignored commitment slowly erodes confidence, while even small steps toward what you said you would do reinforce your self-belief. Trust grows through action, not intention. Start with small tasks. Completing a planned morning task or a responsibility you usually avoid boosts confidence. When you prove you can handle the small things, you start believing you can handle bigger challenges. Every completed step whispers to your mind that you are capable. Trust also grows by facing discomfort rather than avoiding it. Avoiding difficulty weakens your ability to handle pressure. Small actions toward uncomfortable tasks teach you that you can act without perfect conditions and overcome challenges without collapsing. This quiet courage builds trust far more than motivation alone. Honoring boundaries strengthens trust as well. Protecting your time and energy signals that your well-being matters. Allowing others to constantly push your limits weakens self-trust, while staying firm grows self-respect. Keeping your word, even when no one is watching, deepens character and builds private victories that reinforce self-belief. Admitting mistakes honestly, rather than hiding them, builds integrity. Avoiding responsibility erodes trust, while acknowledging and correcting mistakes strengthens emotional maturity. Consistency is crucial too. Showing up day after day, even with slow progress, creates persistence and reinforces self-reliance. Align your actions with your values. Acting against your principles creates inner conflict, while living according to them strengthens inner harmony and trust. Celebrate progress, even small improvements, to reinforce the connection between effort and reward. Move at your own pace. Comparison destroys trust, while patience fosters emotional safety and steady growth. Take responsibility for shaping your life. Ownership of your choices empowers you and strengthens trust. reducing reliance on luck or external conditions. Discipline, learning, and growth all build trust by reinforcing your ability to act, improve, and adapt. Each step you take to strengthen self-trust shapes your identity. You become someone reliable, capable, and strong. Trust builds one decision at a time, creating a confident, steadfast version of yourself. Track your progress. Effort alone is not enough. Without tracking, your mind cannot see evidence of your work, and motivation weakens. Honest tracking provides proof of movement, building confidence and desire to continue. Tracking begins with acknowledging what you actually do, not what you hope or remember. Recording actions creates visible milestones, clarifies your goals, and reveals habits. This allows you to adjust strategies, maintain discipline, and celebrate accomplishments. Why tracking progress also reduces overwhelm. Breaking goals into daily steps makes them manageable, builds clarity, and encourages consistent effort. It fosters honesty, self-awareness, and better decision-making. Understanding how you use your time helps prioritize growth over distractions, sustaining commitment, and building emotional stability. By tracking your progress, you strengthen your identity. You see yourself as someone who grows, not just tries. Every record reinforces that you stayed committed, even when unseen. Tracking is life-changing. It proves effort matters, reinforces decisions, and builds steady, empowering growth. Correct behaviors that block progress. True growth requires removing behaviors that hold you back. Familiar habits may feel comfortable but impede focus and responsibility. Awareness is the first step. Notice what you actually do. Common blockers include avoidance. Delaying tasks drains energy. Correct by taking even small steps forward. Overthinking, excess analysis, creates doubt. Correct by limiting analysis and taking action. Self-criticism, harsh self-talk undermines motivation. Correct by practicing fairness and balanced truth. Inconsistency, irregular effort confuses the mind. Correct by focusing on small daily actions. Saying yes to everything scatters energy. Correct by setting boundaries and prioritizing. Impatience, expecting instant results. Correct by embracing gradual improvement. Comparison, distracts from your path. Correct by focusing inward and valuing your progress. Procrastination, makes tasks heavier. Correct by starting immediately with small steps. Overloading schedule, busyness without direction. Correct by simplifying and focusing on key tasks. Perfectionism, fear of flawlessness blocks action. Correct by valuing progress over perfection. Ignoring emotional needs leads to burnout. Correct by caring for your emotional health. Skipping reflection repeats mistakes. Correct by evaluating your day. Lack of preparation creates confusion. Correct by planning in advance. Correcting these behaviors frees you, lightens your days, builds confidence, and enables purposeful progress. Growth comes not just from adding habits, but from removing obstacles that block daily improvement. Strengthen choices that align with your values. Real progress comes from decisions aligned with your principles, not temporary motivation. Value-driven choices create stability, direction, and confidence. Identify your values to live consciously rather than drift. Act on values daily, even when inconvenient. Honesty, growth, respect. Let these guide decisions. Slow down to evaluate if choices align with values. Separate personal values from external expectations. Act authentically. Set boundaries based on principles, not emotions. Let go of behaviors that contradict values. Take responsibility for your life through value-aligned decisions. Value-driven choices improve relationships, build trust, reduce inner conflict, and create emotional stability. Daily decisions, how you use time, speak, handle responsibilities, either strengthen or weaken alignment. Recognizing and realigning yourself builds self-trust, protects against doubt, and cultivates long-term clarity. Living according to your values brings peace, confidence, and fulfillment, reflecting your true self. Protect habits that keep growth consistent. Growth is built through consistent habits, not fleeting motivation. Small daily behaviors shape direction, strengthen discipline, and build identity. Habits are signals to your mind about who you are becoming. They are fragile, vulnerable to distraction, pressure, and discomfort. Protecting your habits ensures stability. It maintains focus, reinforces discipline, and safeguards your personal growth. Habits are the quiet architecture of progress. They define your day, your identity, and your long-term potential. Even when emotions shift, protected habits provide consistency, direction, and resilience.
Thanks for watching.